My wedding day was supposed to be the happiest day of my life, but it turned into something else entirely. I had made tons of money, and I thought I could use it to fix anything. My bride, Amelia, was very sick. The doctors said she didn't have much time. I found this weird system, like something out of a video game, and I tied it to her, hoping it would make her better. But after we got married, things went wrong. Amelia was always complaining. She said life was too hard, and she kept saying I wasn't good enough. Then the worst happened. I caught her with her old boyfriend, Jason. And it got even worse. She tried to poison me, to actually kill me. I guess the system was the only thing keeping her alive, because without it, her sickness came back fast. She got worse and worse, and then she died. Then, everything went crazy. I woke up, and it was our wedding day again. Both of us were back, like it was all starting over. But this time, Amelia ripped off her veil and ran away from the wedding. She went straight to Jason, who she thought was super rich. What she didn't know was that without the system to keep her alive, she was already dying. Fast forward 6 years. I was at a get-together with some old classmates. I pulled up to the restaurant on my motorcycle when I heard someone sneer behind me. "Look, it's Michael! Wow, you've really gone downhill after all this time." Showing up to a class reunion on a motorcycle. I turned around and saw a fancy Porsche. Amelia was in the passenger seat, and Jason was driving. Jason looked me over, pretending to be nice, but you could tell he was making fun of me. "Amelia, don't be like that," he said. "Michael's just a regular worker. It's understandable he can't buy a fancy car. Let's not make him feel bad." They didn't know I actually did own a nice car, but my daughter needed a ride today, so I let my driver use it. Since the reunion was close by, I just borrowed my assistant's electric bike. Before I could say anything, Amelia got out of the car, holding on to Jason's arm. Jason was dressed in a fancy black suit and gold glasses, looking all rich and important. Amelia had her hair done in waves and was wearing expensive clothes. She looked down her nose at everyone. When she saw what I was wearing, she frowned. "Michael, couldn't you have worn something nicer to a reunion? If I didn't know better, I'd think you came here to ask for money." "I was definitely right to leave you 6 years ago," she went on. "Without you holding me back, I can do so much better." Her smile was full of pride. I looked down at my clothes. I had on a suit, a tie, and leather shoes. I had everything I was supposed to wear. I just came straight from work and didn't have time to change, so my clothes were a bit wrinkled, but it wasn't as bad as Amelia was making it out to be. Seeing that I wasn't saying anything, Jason pushed up his glasses and gave a fake smile. "If you work hard, you can accomplish anything, you know," he said. "Michael must have his reasons for being in this situation, right?" His words were dripping with sarcasm. "Okay, Jason, no need to waste time on unimportant people," Amelia said. "Let's go inside. We don't want to keep our old friends waiting." With that, Amelia and Jason walked right past me, holding their breath like I was something disgusting. I just chuckled. Their behavior was so childish, it didn't bother me. I followed them inside. The private room was full of our old classmates. When they saw Amelia and Jason in their designer clothes, everyone started sucking up to them. "Amelia, you're so lucky to have married a great guy like Jason." "Jason is not only good-looking, but also successful and young. He's going places." While they were flattering them, they also made sure to mention me. "Compared to Jason, Michael looks pretty rough. I heard he's still just a low-level employee." Thank goodness Amelia ran away from that wedding and chose Jason. Otherwise, she'd still be stuck with Michael. Their words reminded me of what happened. 6 years ago, Amelia and I were both reborn on our wedding day. She regretted her choice from before, and the first thing she did after being reborn was to run away to find Jason. Everyone, including our friends and family, knew about it. When she heard them talking about the past, Amelia tried to brush it off, pretending it was no big deal. Then, with a proud look, she leaned against Jason, playing with her newly done nails, making sure everyone saw the huge diamond ring on her finger. I stayed quiet, taking out my phone to deal with some work stuff. If it hadn't been for my roommate practically forcing me, I wouldn't have come to this reunion at all. Seeing that I wasn't reacting, Amelia let out a cold snort, losing interest, and started calling for the waiter. "Why isn't the food here yet?" The waiter politely explained, "It's being made. Please wait a little longer." Half an hour went by, and Amelia was clearly getting annoyed. When the waiter finally brought out the food, she angrily dumped a bowl of soup over the waiter's head. "Why did it take so long? Are you trying to starve us? With service this bad, you're going to get complaints." The waiter was so scared she started crying. I couldn't stand it. I put down my phone and went to help the waiter. "That's enough, you're going too far." The waiter looked at me gratefully, but Amelia just sneered. "You're feeling sorry for a waiter?" she said. "Of course, you're both just low-level workers, so naturally you'd stick up for each other." "Earlier, you were so calm. I thought you didn't care about anything. Turns out you were just pretending." The others started mocking me too, saying I only stood up for the waiter because I was jealous of how well Amelia and Jason were doing. But I didn't care. "What's there to be jealous of? I'm very happy with my life. My wife is kind, my daughter is adorable, my job is going well, and my family is happy. What more could I ask for?" Amelia, though, seemed to think it was the funniest thing she'd ever heard. "Satisfied? Well, it's a miracle you're even still alive. People like you, who don't try to improve, will always be average, no matter how many times you're reborn. You have no future. You and I are clearly not meant to be together." I nodded in agreement. She was right. We were never meant to be. In my previous life, I gave up my career and a bright future to change her fate. This time, without her holding me back, my career had really taken off. Seeing me nod, Amelia got even prouder and started bragging about the huge, expensive wedding she and Jason were planning. "It just shows there's a big difference between people. Jason has spent $30 million on a big wedding for me. We're getting married in 3 months. Just the flowers, imported roses, will cost more than you make in a year." "Jason is so generous. Amelia, you're really lucky." The others were amazed, and Amelia held her head high, full of pride. She was clearly enjoying all the attention. I, however, couldn't help but smirk to myself. She still didn't know that this time, without me to bind a system to keep her alive, she wouldn't even make it to that wedding. In my past life, both Jason and I wanted to be with Amelia, but in the end, she chose me. She thought I was more dependable than Jason, and I promised to treat her well for the rest of my life. And I did. On our wedding day, I found out Amelia was terminally ill and didn't have much time left. To change her fate, I gave up my future and used my billions to bind a life extension system to her. After that, Amelia lived on in good health, but I, having traded my future for her life, kept missing out on opportunities. Every time there was a chance for a promotion or a raise, it passed me by, and I stayed a low-level employee. But even with all that, because I worked hard and was dedicated, our life, though not as fancy as others, was comfortable. We bought a small house in the suburbs, and I used an electric scooter to get around. It wasn't much, but at least we had a car and a home. Both our parents had retirement money, so we didn't have to worry about taking care of them when they got old. We didn't have kids, so we didn't have the burden of raising them. Our life was simple, but happy. But then, one day, Amelia saw her best friend showing off her wealth on social media, all her fancy things. That's when Amelia got jealous. She started complaining about how hard our life was, finding fault with everything, and calling me useless. She even pressured me to try harder and do better. But it was no use. To save her, I had already given up my future, and this average life was all I could offer. Eventually, Amelia became more and more unhappy with me, and secretly started getting close to Jason again. Just because Jason could buy her expensive bags and makeup, things I couldn't afford. When I found out she poisoned me, as I lay dying, she looked at me with disgust and said, "Michael, if I could do it all over again, I'd never choose you." After I died, without the system, Amelia quickly got sick and died too. So when we were reborn, she immediately ran away from the wedding to find Jason. I didn't stop her. I just watched. She thought she was making the right choice this time, But she didn't know this was really the end for her. While I was lost in thought, Jason had already given the waiter a lot of money to make up for what happened, ending the drama. Everyone started praising Jason's generosity. Some even took the chance to ask, "Jason, I heard your company is working with the Penguin Group. Is that true?" Jason smiled casually, but his voice was full of pride. "It's just a small partnership, worth a few tens of millions. Nothing big." A few tens of millions? And it's just a small partnership? Only Jason could be so casual about it. As the others gasped in amazement, they also looked at Amelia with envy. Jason put his arm around Amelia and playfully touched her nose. "By the way, this deal was actually Amelia's doing. She's the one who got it for us." Amelia couldn't stop smiling, her eyes closing with happiness as she held Jason's hand. "This is what happens when a husband and wife work together. Nothing can stop us. Choosing the right partner can help you grow, but choosing the wrong one will only hold you back." As she spoke, she purposely gave me a look, as if to show off her victory. I didn't react. I was even a little amused by her behavior. I had never cared about her. It had always been her trying to one-up me. What she didn't know was that just a few days ago I found a mistake in Jason's plan for the partnership. I had already decided, on my own, to cancel the deal. I casually dropped a hint. "Don't get too excited. It's not certain yet if the deal will go through." Amelia's face immediately darkened, her eyebrows furrowing in anger. "Michael, what are you trying to say? Are you really trying to ruin our happiness?" "You're not even in the business. What do you know? Or is it that you just can't stand seeing me and Jason doing well?" The others, wanting to get on Amelia's good side, also chimed in, advising me. "Come on, Michael. It's a rare reunion. Don't spoil the mood. We're all old classmates. There's no need to make things awkward. Why don't you have a drink to apologize to Amelia and Jason? Maybe in the future they'll help you out as a favor to an old friend." Before I could answer, they'd already filled my glass, leaving me no chance to refuse. Amelia glanced at the drink and snorted coldly. "If you want to drink to apologize, one glass isn't enough. You'll need a whole bottle." With that, she pushed an entire bottle of liquor in front of me. I looked down. She knew very well I was allergic to alcohol. She was doing this just to make fun of me. I pushed the bottle away, glancing at Amelia. Her face was so pale that even her makeup couldn't hide it. I smirked coldly. "I won't drink, but you, Amelia, instead of wasting your energy trying to mock me, why don't you start worrying about yourself? After all, you're the one with the terminal illness. Your time is running out." When I said this, everyone was shocked, their eyes wide. "What? Terminal illness?" Amelia froze for a moment, then immediately dug through her bag and pulled out her medical papers. She threw them in front of me with a sneer. "You must be talking about stomach cancer, right? I didn't expect you to be so jealous of my life, hoping I would die. But sorry, 7 years ago my condition was already under control." I shook my head and smiled slightly. "You're not thinking this through." Amelia still didn't understand how serious a terminal illness is. A terminal illness can't be cured. Its cancer cells spread and keep growing. 7 years ago, Amelia was diagnosed with stomach cancer. She had medicine and chemo, and for a while, I thought she had recovered. But later she still looked pale and weak, sometimes fainting or going into shock. It wasn't until I talked to the system that I learned the cancer cells had already spread to other organs during the treatment for her stomach cancer. In 7 years at most, Amelia would die because her other organs would fail. That's why I agreed to the system's deal, giving up all my money and my future to make her live longer. I gave up everything to give Amelia a healthy body. But she was still not happy, becoming obsessed with looks, comparing herself to others, and wanting a fancier life. She wanted a better life, and I understood that. If she had just told me, I would have divorced her and set her free. But she shouldn't have cheated on me, running off with Jason, and after I found out, she cruelly poisoned me. I snapped out of my thoughts and saw Jason holding Amelia, pretending to be forgiving as he smiled at me. Michael, it's only natural for you to be jealous of the good life Amelia and I have, but you shouldn't curse her just because you're jealous. We're about to have our wedding, and instead of wishing us well, you're trying to ruin things with bad luck. Jason's words made me look like a mean, small-minded person. Everyone in the room looked at me with disgust. Amelia has recovered, and Michael still says her time is running out. What a mean thing to say. He's just bitter and jealous of Amelia's life. That's why he said that. He can't stand seeing her do well. Amelia was right to leave him. This kind of man is small-hearted and has no future. No woman should marry him. When I didn't respond, Amelia's eyes again filled with smug satisfaction. Since you're so jealous of my life, I'll give you a chance. In 3 months, Jason and I will have our wedding, and you're invited. After all, this wedding is worth millions. You'll probably never have the chance to go to something like this again in your life. Amelia, you're so kind and forgiving. Even after Michael said all that, you still invited him to your wedding. Michael, what are you waiting for? Don't you want to thank Amelia? I found it funny. Whether or not this was the only wedding I would ever go to in my life, that was uncertain. But what I could be sure of was that Amelia wouldn't live long enough to have her wedding. Just then, Amelia's phone rang. She grinned smugly, thinking it was the wedding planning company calling to talk about the details of her wedding. Since Michael will come, I'll tell them to add another seat. I'll have more lobster and crab delivered, too. Michael, you're so lucky. If it weren't for my wedding, you'd probably never get to eat food like this in your life. To make sure everyone could hear how fancy her wedding was, she deliberately put the phone on speaker. But to her surprise, it was the hospital calling. The voice on the other end was a doctor. Miss Taylor, your test results are back. Your cancer cells have spread to your liver. You're now in the advanced stages of liver cancer. Amelia's eyelashes fluttered, and her face instantly turned pale. Her voice shook as she spoke. Liver cancer. Advanced stage. How could this happen? I cured my stomach cancer in the past. I was fine. How could I possibly have advanced liver cancer now? Before she could finish, Amelia suddenly threw up a mouthful of blood. Seeing the blood on the floor, she froze. The people around us were just as shocked by this sudden turn of events. I looked coldly at Amelia and stepped closer. Leaning down, I whispered softly to her. Are you wondering why this is happening? Actually, you never really got better from stomach cancer. The control you had over it was just the last bit of life before death. You didn't die because I used everything I had, sacrificing my future to bind a life-extending system for you. To change your fate, I gave up everything, but you looked down on my average life. Not only did you cheat on me, but you also killed me. So this time you're going to face the consequences of your choices. Hearing this, Amelia stared at me in disbelief, her eyes wavering, but she still stubbornly refused to accept it. What life-extending system? You're just making things up! She angrily pushed me away, shaking her head, not wanting to believe it. Advanced liver cancer? It's just a coincidence. The doctor made a mistake. Throwing up blood? It's because I ate something too spicy, that's all? Seeing her desperately trying to convince herself, I found it kind of funny. Who eats something spicy and throws up blood like that? But I wasn't the same Michael who would put her on a pedestal, giving up everything to save her. In my past life, I gave her my heart and soul, but she ended up killing me. This time, I was letting her go her own way with Jason, sealing her fate. Fine, believe whatever you want. I've said everything I needed to. Seeing my indifference, Amelia tried to prove she was healthy by patting her chest, as if to show she was fine. See, I'm perfectly healthy. There's nothing wrong with me. But the next second, she suddenly threw up another mouthful of blood. This time she was completely stunned, her words stuck in her throat. Seeing the blood on the floor, the others finally realized how serious it was. They tried to get Jason to help take Amelia to the hospital, but Jason, saying he couldn't stand the sight of blood, stayed as far away as possible. In the end, It was the others who had to work together to get Amelia to the hospital. Since there was still some time left, I went along to watch. When Amelia woke up, the first thing she saw was the doctor's helpless expression and a paper confirming advanced liver cancer. Furious, she threw up another mouthful of blood, staining the hospital bed. Jason, looking at Amelia, now had a look of disgust. I, on the other hand, stood there watching, amused. "Now do you believe me?" Amelia immediately wiped the blood from her mouth and grabbed Jason, glaring at me like an angry child. "Michael, you just wanted to see the look on my face when I found out I had liver cancer, didn't you? Well, it's not going to happen. Even if I don't have much time left, I still have Jason. He'll never leave me. The past 6 years with him have been the happiest time of my life. Unlike you, when I was with you, all I had was a miserable life. Instead of being with you and suffering, I'd rather die of cancer. At least I'll die free, without regrets." I smiled slightly. "Is that so? Too bad, your good days are coming to an end." Amelia gave me a cold look. "What do you mean by that?" While she was still in the hospital, I had already called my assistant to cancel the partnership with Jason's family's company. As I was thinking, my assistant arrived with the prepared contract to end the deal. Before Amelia and Jason could react, he directly handed the termination agreement to them. "I finally found you, Mr. Davis, Miss Taylor. There are problems with your proposal, and unfortunately, we can't continue the partnership. This is the termination contract. If you don't have any objections, please sign it." The people who had followed us to the hospital were all shocked by this sudden change. Jason staggered, his legs almost giving out. Amelia's already pale face turned even whiter, and her lips trembled. "Terminate the contract? Why would you terminate the contract for no reason?" Suddenly, it clicked for her, and she gave me a murderous look. "Michael, it was you, wasn't it? You mentioned at the dinner table that there were problems with our proposal. You're the one who ruined it, aren't you? What have you done? Are you happy now, ruining my happiness?" The more she thought about it, the angrier she became. With great effort, she tried to get out of bed and stumbled toward me, ready to attack. But before her nails could reach me, my assistant stepped forward and blocked her, his voice cold. "That's enough. Open your eyes and look. The person standing in front of you is the CEO of Penguin Group, Mr. Blake." The moment my assistant spoke, the room went silent. Everyone's attitude toward me completely changed. They went from looking down on me to being overly eager and polite. "Michael, you've been hiding this well. Who would have thought you're actually the CEO of Penguin Group? I've always known you were different. You were born for wealth and success. That's right. All that talk at the dinner table was just casual joking. We were just messing around, Mr. Blake. Please don't take it seriously." Jason and Amelia were frozen, their mouths hanging open. It took a while, but Jason finally forced a smile, bowing and rubbing his hands together as he approached me, with a fake, flattering grin. "Mr. Blake, I sincerely apologize for offending you before. I didn't realize who you were. But our Davis family really needs this partnership, and we're willing to make the necessary changes to the proposal. Can you consider giving us another chance, based on our old connection as classmates?" He tried to shake my hand, but I simply stepped aside, avoiding any contact. "Your proposal had problems, which already shows your lack of skill. And not to mention, you made fun of us before the deal was even confirmed, treating us as inferior. That shows your lack of character. If your honesty is questionable, how can I trust you to work with us? So, no need to say more. I won't be working with you." With that, I turned to Amelia. "Amelia, you always said it was me and our family that kept you trapped, but haven't you realized that I was just as trapped?" "You're right. We really weren't a good match. In my past life, it was foolish of me to use my future to make you live longer. Without you, I'll only be better off." Amelia didn't expect that I would be doing better than her in this life. The shock made her cough up more blood. Soon the coughing became so bad that she was gasping for air. Her vision darkened, and she fainted. Jason, on the other hand, was frantic, begging my assistant to speak on his behalf, but my assistant, getting tired of his begging, kicked him away. The whole mess was over, and I turned to leave, heading home to be with my wife and daughter. As soon as I opened the door, 2 little girls with their hair in pigtails rushed toward me, calling out sweetly, "Daddy, you're back! I missed you!" "Lily, my sweet girl, I missed you too." I scooped up my daughter, Lily, and Sarah, my wife, took off my coat and gave me a warm smile. "You're home. You must be tired after a long day. Come sit and rest." Seeing Sarah and Lily, all my frustrations disappeared. My heart felt warm. How lucky I am to have met them in this life. Sarah and I met 6 years ago at Amelia's wedding. Sarah had been the host, and when Amelia ran away, Sarah stepped in to cover for me, making the awkward situation better. We got to know each other from that moment, and later I took her out to dinner to thank her. While we talked, I found Sarah to be a gentle, kind woman. Our relationship grew from there, and eventually we got married and had our lovely daughter. In my previous life, Amelia and I had also talked about having children, but she didn't want them, saying that having a baby would ruin her figure. I respected her decision and never pushed it. But seeing my friends with their happy families, I couldn't help but feel a little jealous. I longed to have a little one call me daddy and cuddle in my arms. Now, everything I wanted had come true, and my life was perfect. After playing with Lily for a while, she got tired, and Sarah suggested taking her to wash up and get ready for bed. While they were in the bathroom, the doorbell rang, and I quickly got up to answer it. When I saw who it was, I frowned. "What are you doing here?" There stood Amelia, soaked from the rain, wearing a hospital gown, her eyes red from crying. Even though it was raining, I didn't let her inside. We were strangers now, and I didn't want Sarah to get the wrong idea. Seeing that I wasn't inviting her in, Amelia's face fell. She looked up at me, her voice choked with sobs. "Michael, Jason never really cared about me. He only saw me as a toy. After you left, he blamed me for ruining his deal, hitting and yelling at me while I was still hooked up to an IV. Then he broke up with me." "He never loved me, Michael. Now I understand how good you were to me." As she spoke, Amelia kept glancing at my face. When she saw my indifference, her lip trembled, and her eyes filled with tears. "Michael, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have treated you like that in my past life. 6 years ago, I made the wrong choice. I shouldn't have run away from our wedding. I shouldn't have left you. Please, give me one more chance. Just say the word and I'll break up with Jason right away. We can start over, okay?" Amelia's voice got more desperate as she spoke, tears falling from her eyes. She tried to rush into my arms, but I pushed her away. "There's no need. I was foolish in my past life, but I've learned my lesson. We were never meant to be." "And didn't you always want Jason? I gave you what you wanted, so why aren't you happy?" Seeing my resistance, Amelia's eyes reddened even more. She shook her head desperately, her eyelashes trembling. "But Michael, now I realize I love you. Is there really no hope for us? Can we never be together again?" I shook my head, speaking coldly. "No, there's no hope. And you don't love me. You only came back because you want me to save you. That's the only reason." Her face fell as she realized I'd seen through her. She opened her mouth to speak, but couldn't find the words. After a long pause, she looked at me with tearful eyes. "Even so, can you really just watch me die? Michael, when did you become so heartless?" I chuckled softly, each word clear and sharp. "I learned it from you. Amelia, don't forget. I died because of you in my past life. Do you really think I'd save my enemy? Now leave. From the moment you betrayed me, from the moment you ran away from our wedding, we were finished. I have a new life now, and you are part of my past. Don't come back here again." Seeing my determination, Amelia finally realized I wasn't bluffing. A flicker of panic crossed her face. "Michael, please don't leave me!" She still wasn't willing to give up. She rushed toward me, trying to grab my hand. At that moment, Lily, who had finished washing up, ran out of the house. She opened her arms wide, like a protective little mother hen, and stood in front of me, glaring at Amelia with an angry expression. "What do you think you're doing to my daddy?" Hearing Lily call me Daddy, Amelia stumbled, her fingertips trembling. "She called you... Daddy?" The next second, Amelia's voice went up an octave. "Michael, how could you possibly have a child if you love me so much?" "I get it now. This is your adopted child, right?" Her eyes were full of pleading as she looked at me, expecting me to deny it. Before I could speak, Lily, her face red with anger, raised her little fists and began to hit Amelia. "Bad woman, you're lying! Lily isn't adopted. Lily is Daddy's daughter!" After the shock, Amelia quickly started to comfort herself. "Having a child doesn't matter. I can be her mother. Michael, we can raise this child together. I'm willing to do it." I was speechless. I picked up Lily, who was stomping her feet in frustration, and comforted her. I then gave Amelia a cold look. Not needed. Lily already has her real mother. And yes, Lily is indeed my biological daughter. When I confirmed it out loud, Amelia froze, tears welling up in her eyes. "Impossible. You're not even married. How could you have a daughter?" "Michael, you must be lying to me. I know you're angry because I ran away from our wedding, but I've already admitted my mistake." Before she could finish, I interrupted coldly. "Who said I'm not married?" "Amelia, no one will wait around forever for you. Admitting your mistakes doesn't mean I have to forgive you." Amelia bit her lip hard, her sharp nails digging into her flesh. It was clear she couldn't accept this. "I don't believe it. You loved me so much. You even gave up your future and your life for me." Just then, Sarah's gentle voice came from behind me. "Honey, what's going on?" I smiled and pulled her close, affectionately ruffling her hair. "It's nothing, sweetie. Just an unimportant stranger." Seeing our sweet interaction, Amelia finally realized that I was genuinely married. Her eyes turned red with rage as she rushed toward us. "You're really married? Michael, how could you do this to me?" "You said I was your only wife." I couldn't help but laugh. "So, it's okay for you to run away from our wedding, but not okay for me to get married? You're too selfish." Sarah recognized Amelia and smiled at her. "I remember you. You're my husband's ex-fiancé. I was the one who hosted your wedding, remember?" "Actually, I should thank you. If you hadn't run away from your wedding 6 years ago, we might never have gotten together. We wouldn't have had Lily, so thank you for making this possible." Sarah's words were soft, but they were sharp, like needles wrapped in silk. Amelia broke down at that moment, tears streaming down her face. She collapsed to the floor, and with a desperate cry, grabbed onto my pants leg, not letting go. "Michael, I was wrong. I really regret it. Please give me one more chance. This time, I'll love you properly." I kicked her away. "This is the path you chose. You deal with it. And don't forget, you're still married to Jason. You're a married woman. We both have families. Don't do anything disgusting." Amelia's eyes widened in disbelief, her face contorted with a mixture of pain and anger. She continued to sob, but I was unmoved. "Get up and leave. You've already chosen your path, and now you have to walk it. Don't come back here again." With that, I ignored Amelia's pleas and slammed the door shut, turning my back on her as I led Sarah and Lily back inside without a glance. I let her cry in the rain, her eyes red and her voice hoarse, but I remained unmoved. Once inside, Sarah seemed a little jealous. "You went to a class reunion and your ex-girlfriend showed up at our doorstep. Looks like you've still got quite the charm, Michael." I knew Sarah was feeling jealous, so I quickly smiled and reassured her. Don't worry, honey. I've long since given up on Amelia. Besides, she hurt me before, so there's no way I'll ever soften toward her. My heart belongs to you, and only you. Lily, looking a little offended, chimed in. What about me, Daddy? I immediately pulled Lily into my arms. Of course, there's you too. You and Mommy are the most important people in my life, and that will never change. After that day, Amelia never came to find me again. Instead, she started going after Jason's company with a vengeance. Since she had been an executive at his family's company, she had access to a lot of evidence about their illegal activities. After her breakup with Jason, she sought revenge by bringing in reporters and exposing all the evidence. This included proof of the company cutting corners, selling bad goods, and faking financial records while stealing public funds. Once the news broke, the company was in chaos. Their stock crashed, the cash flow was cut off, and many of their brand partners demanded to break contracts, seeking a lot of money for breaking the agreement. I was pleased to see it happen, since in my past life, Jason had indirectly been responsible for my death. In this life, he was getting what he deserved at Amelia's hands. Under Amelia's relentless attack, Jason's company quickly collapsed, and Jason was personally sent to prison by her. After all of that, Amelia came to me once more. At that time, Sarah and I were waiting outside Lily's kindergarten to pick her up. When Amelia saw me, her eyes lit up, and she quickly ran to my side, speaking with self-pity. Michael, I've divorced Jason. To get back at him for what he did, I even personally sent him to jail. He'll spend the rest of his life behind bars. Now you won't be mad at me anymore, right? But I had never been mad at her. I had already stopped expecting anything from her. Seeing my silence, Amelia forced a smile and took out a small red velvet box from her pocket. She opened it in front of me and presented the diamond ring as if it were some sort of treasure. I truly understand now. Look, I even prepared a wedding ring for you. Michael, let's forget the past and start over, okay? Her loud declaration immediately drew the attention of other parents nearby, who began whispering among themselves, staring at us with curiosity. Isn't that Lily Blake's dad? What's going on here? Is this woman his mistress? Is she trying to break up their marriage? I furrowed my brow, feeling a bit annoyed. I reluctantly took the ring from her. Seeing me accept it, Amelia's face lit up with a smile. Michael, I knew it. You still love me. But the next second, I coldly threw the ring away, my voice freezing. Don't you think this is too late? Whether you divorce or not, it has nothing to do with me. We're already over. I've built a new family, and I'm happy now. Don't come bothering us again. Sarah, seizing the moment, tightened her arm around mine, clearly staking her claim. Amelia, Michael is my husband, and he will only ever be my husband. Stop torturing yourself. Don't come near us again. The other parents had now understood the situation, and their looks toward Amelia shifted to contempt. They began mocking her, calling her shameless for trying to be the third party. Amelia's face turned bright red with shame, and her lips were so tightly clenched that they bled. In a fit of rage, she pushed Sarah, venting her frustration. Shut up! What do you mean, your husband? Michael is my husband. You're just the woman who stole him from me. Everything you have now should have been mine. Seeing Sarah being pushed, I finally lost my patience. I raised my hand and slapped Amelia across the face. Are you done causing a scene? Amelia, clutching her red face, looked at me in disbelief, hurt written all over her face. Michael, I love you so much, and you're hitting me for another woman? I immediately stepped in front of Sarah, my voice firm and cold. This is not just any woman. This is my wife. Amelia completely broke down, her voice shrill as she screamed. How can you be so sure that she didn't marry you for your money? Michael, only I truly love you. Every other woman who gets close to you has bad intentions. I laughed coldly. Enough. Don't try to stir trouble between us. And don't think I won't sue you for slander. Sarah is nothing like you. She's always been kind, and she knows how to understand me and love me. As for you, You don't know how to love, and you don't deserve my love. Amelia, I admit I once loved you deeply. I loved you so much I would have given up everything for you. But you didn't cherish that. Now you have no right to regret it. Besides, the only thing you regret isn't losing me. It's that you made the wrong choice back then. By the end, my voice had become more impatient. Bottom line, it's over between us. If you keep bothering us, don't blame me for calling the police. Just then, Lily came running out of the kindergarten. I took Sarah's hand and picked up Lily, turning my back on Amelia as we walked away, not even giving her another glance. It was only then that Amelia realized she had completely lost me. She collapsed to the ground, sobbing in the wind, her eyes red and swollen. After that day, Amelia, full of rage, placed all the blame on Jason. She paid off people in the prison to beat him severely. Jason ended up losing all his teeth and had his legs broken. As for Amelia, it was said that she spiraled into deep despair, repeatedly attempting suicide, wanting to go back and redo everything. Once, she even jumped from the 18th floor, landing in a coma and becoming a vegetable. Not long after, she completely lost her mind, constantly muttering the same words. I want to be reborn. I want to start over. After that, I stopped following Amelia and Jason's news. I looked at Sarah and Lily beside me, smiling happily. In this life, I had people I cared about and cherished. We would continue to live happily ever after.